Hey, this is Pastor Dave, and this is your Monday Mojo, the last Monday Mojo of 2024. Yes, it's almost over. And I'm going to spend one more week revisiting my favorite movie, It's a Wonderful Life. Because there's something that happens in that movie that I think is easy to overlook, especially in the culture we find ourselves in today. Hope you had a great Christmas. So, you know the story. George decides he doesn't want to live anymore, and it'd been better off if he'd never been born. And so he gets to see what that looks like. And so George has grown up and lived and served and helped make this town called Bedford Falls a wonderful place to live. And so when he decides that he doesn't want to be alive anymore, he's granted that wish, and he goes back into town. And when he gets there, it's not Bedford Falls anymore; it's Pottersville. Potter's the old angry banker guy who wanted to take over everything. Well, he had taken over everything, but the thing about it was when George went running down Main Street in what is now Pottersville, he saw signs for gorgeous dancing girls and pawn shops and betting places and alcohol and drinking and bars and it was very clear that Pottersville was a very different kind of place than Bedford Falls was. And I suppose some people would say, well, you're being too idyllic, Dave. I don't know. I don't know. I know this, that all those things that were in Pottersville appeal to vices. They appeal to sides of us that are not for the best of a life. Laura was walking around downtown on a lunch break a couple of years ago, and a couple of young men who were doing a video project came up to him and said, hey, can I ask you a question? She said, sure. And they said, what do you think about the legalization of marijuana? She thought about it for a moment. She said, well, you know, the truth of the matter is I don't think I'm for it because I think we've got enough things in this life already that are producing addiction and vice on our part. Think about that. I think it's true. I mean, we have an epidemic of overeating. We have gambling sites. Now, you listen to any radio station, and there's a plethora of gambling sites. And what's crazy is at the end of every one of those gambling commercials, they say, if you have an addiction problem, how crazy is it that a product that you offer has to come with a warning that this is very addictive? Anyway, the difference between Bedford Falls and Pottersville, if you take it for what it is in the story, is the story of a man who said, I'm not going to live for myself. I'm going to live for others. I'm going to put others as important as Jesus said it. Love others as you love yourself. You don't not love yourself, but you love others with the same amount, and you put others first. And that makes a world that's a lot better than a world where I just go after my vices, my first. Anyway, that's my wrap up of 2024, looking into 2025, hoping that I can live the kind of life that George Bailey lived, which was I'm going to go out of my way to serve others, to make the world a good place to be for others, and less concerned about how I can take care of my own vices. So, kind of an interesting way to end 2024, but I hope it's a good one for you, and I hope you have a happy new year.